I'm Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, your best place rugby predictions and opinions. And it's all going to be a bit different this week. Normally, I've got Steve and Shane, who have taken all the notes, done all the preparation, and do a fantastic show. Unfortunately, they're not available this week, and so you'll end up with me instead. And I've not taken all the notes and done all the preparation. So this will be a pretty quick one as I run through. I have seen all the games. It's just a matter of, can I remember them after having getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning for both of the European Rugby Champions Cup finals, or semi-finals, sorry. So kicking us off, so we had the Sharks versus the, we didn't, we had, before that we had the Chiefs versus the Lions, finished 17-23. I mean, where has that performance been from the Lions? This really was an upset, and you can see my post-match reaction on the channel, but the I'm trying to find my notes here. There we go. And it was interesting to see Yanchi's at 12. The Lions lineup wasn't what we were expecting. They made a lot of changes very late on. So Marks came back in, Yanchi's came back in. We had Quagga Smith and also Warren Whiteley, Warren back in the side. Having those two leaders back in that pack, and Marks starting rather than on the bench was definitely a big thing for this side. To go out 20-0 at half-time, the Chiefs really at sea and all over the place. But you got to say, some wonderful skills. Whiteley's grubber through for an 8. That was impressive. And you've got to say that the Lions did very well to win. That's back-to-back wins in Hamilton after doing it in 2016. The Chiefs came back to it in that second half, but you got to say, letting yourself be 20-0 down at half time is absolutely criminal at home against a side that really has not been firing on all cylinders and gave it some pretty big leads this season. We followed that up with the Sunwolves versus the Hurricanes. Sunwolves giving the Hurricanes a almighty scare up in Tokyo. Obviously the Hurricanes without Geordie Barrett, Bowden Barrett and Artie Surveyor. But even so, it was a 23-10 lead at half-time for the Sunwolves. Mazurewa getting in for a couple of tries. He's having a fantastic season, isn't he? Parker actually even missed a kick in this one, which was in the second half, which obviously is a very rare occurrence for him. Ended up 23-29 in the end. As I say, that's 19-0 or 0-19 in that second half to the Hurricanes as they came back. TJ Piranara pretty much carrying the side in that first half there. But yes, not the commanding kind of performance you'd expect by the Hurricanes. Two New Zealand sides there that have started slow in the first half and had to come back in the second half there. We then went over to South Africa for the Sharks versus the Reds. And this is a game that the Sharks really lost rather than the Reds won. Sure, it finished 14-21. And congratulations to the Reds. You have to finish off and score the tries. But you've got to say the handling from the from the Sharks was absolutely abysmal. They had all the opportunities to win this, but as one of the things we've been trying to discuss on Twitter has been, which is the worst coached side in Super Rugby? And Sharks are definitely up there. They've got all the skills, they've got all the talent, but they're just not putting it together. We saw in that first half when Hegarty just went straight through for the try after 2 minutes, with big gaps in that defence. It's really not connected, and that comes down to basically heart and coaching. The skills on the show when you got players like Bosch, etc., able to break, is great. But if you're not going to kick in field to them, which you shouldn't do, then you got to say it is you're going to negate that kind of counter attack, which is what you're supposed to do. Chardon Zed on the live chat there. Evening Paul, had a shocking round, picking only one game correctly on Super Brew. You're not the only one. I only got one from 6 as well. It was an absolute shocker. And we'll talk about the New Zealand sides. Sorry, not the New Zealand sides. We'll talk about the South Africa sides and the problems with picking them later on. It has been a really crazy old season. I'm going to have a look at the table at the end of the review and go through how all the tables stand, how the teams are all lining up. So congratulations to the Reds winning on the road. Important win, but you've got to say that this was the Sharks leading to their own downfall with some absolutely horrendous handling in particular. We then had the Highlanders versus the Blues. You've got to say that the Blues in this one this had to be their best chance of getting an away win against New Zealand's side that's in a long time. Again, I did a live post-match reaction to this one as well. And it was Blues for all the sort of first 12 minutes, but no points from that. Nonu eventually got the Blues ahead, but it finished 7-5 at half-time, which is a very low-scoring game, as you can say. But it really kind of all happened in that second half. The penalty try at scrum time really just took the wind out of the Blues' sails. And after that, when they were 40-5 down, they just didn't look like that they believed they could win. I think the fact that they haven't won an away game against New Zealand side since 2013, I think it is. What's that, 5-6 years? Is absolutely crazy. And that really played on their minds. Fadders got a one-hand interception, went all the way. It wasn't really until the last 2 minutes that the Blues turned up and started to play again. And if you can't switch off for 30-odd, half an hour of the game and expect to be anywhere in it come the end. 24-12 for that one. And as I say, the Blues really switched off and the Highlanders turned up. Now, a couple of players coming back from injury, Aaron Smith and Luke Whitelock were on the bench. So it was a strong bench for the Highlanders, but still, they're missing players and the Blues should have taken more advantage of that. Andre in the live chat had 3 out of 6 and felt he doesn't know rugby anymore. Well, most of us got 1 out of 6, so you did pretty well. Auckland Blues supporters getting ahead of themselves after 4 in a row against dodgy teams. It was 4 in a row at home as well, which is the other big thing. Away from home, they're still struggling, and we've got that's something for them to address. As I say, I think they've got a real mental block against New Zealand sides, especially away from home now, with the way that they've gone against the Chiefs and the Highlanders, 2 easier, in inverted commas, teams, as we'll see in the table later on, the 2 bottom teams in the Blues in the New Zealand Conference, and the Blues failed to pick up that away win. We then headed over the Tasman to the Waratahs versus the Rebels at the SMG. Look, we really SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. Can we please stop playing rugby on cricket grounds, especially on full-size ovals? You're so far away from the pitch. It's just crazy. So, yeah, real shame that they've had to play there, and they couldn't find a rectangle pitch to play on. I know you're going to tell me that both Eden Park and the Westpac Stadium down in Wellington do host one-day cricket games, and again, I don't think they should be held. I think they should have rectangle things as rectangle pitches there as well. So in this one, Hodge had a good game. It showed that he gets steps. I mean, one of the things that we heard on Green and Gold Rugby is that he's got a very high try-scoring record, and after only 3 seasons, and he popped up in the right place yet again. And the Rebels looked in control of this, 7:20 at half-time, with with just that solo try from Adam Ashley Cooper converted by Foley from the Waratahs. But then Foley's kicking boot came into action, 3 penalties, and then also him and Hooper both went for a 50-50 ball. He got it, I think it was off a line out, wasn't it, or something like that. So the Blues had no one, or the Rebels had no one back at fullback, and over he went for a try. So Foley scored all of the 13 points in the second half of the Waratahs. As the Rebels failed to score in that second half, Hodge missing a penalty, Cooper missed a penalty in the first half as well, and it was enough to see the Waratahs home. This Rebels side really trying to sort of flattering to deceive at times, the ones that we think are as being the best side in Australia, but really not being able to capitalise on it properly. Andre said he called this game, but was disappointed where Genia and Cooper did in this tight game. Yep, it's got to be considered from an Australian point of view, but I think Foley basically showed that he is going to be their number 110, even though there's lots of talk about the fact that Cooper is playing well and would he come back into the national setup. Finish things off, the Stormers versus the Brumbies. This Stormers side, which hasn't had a loss all season, suddenly against a side that hasn't won at home, hasn't won away all season, and then we get this kind of game where we have 17-19 in the end. Crazy one. I can't remember too much about this one, but 10-12 at half time with a penalty try on half time, but before that, the Stormers were struggling to get the points on the board, and that really epitomises what's been happening in the Africa Conference in particular. My friend, I've gone blank as to his name, but I retweeted his tweet. In South Africa, he's done a bit of analysis on all the games involving Africa Conference teams, and so far 50% of the wins have been by the home side and 50% of them have been by the away side, and also 50% have been by the favourites and 50% have been by the underdog, and that's for all games involving South Africa teams, South Africa Conference teams this season. That is absolutely nuts. It literally is a coin flip as to who is going to win a game that involves a South African side. You really have no idea who's going to turn up. I mean, we've got the Sharks put a stack of points on the Lions, and then the Lions go away and beat the Chiefs when the Sharks go home and lose. It's crazy at the moment that around these sides, it can't all be just down to players being rested for the Rugby World Cup. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be more into it than that, and it is an absolutely crazy season so far. Now, it's great in some ways because it means that it's unpredictable and people can enjoy it, but it keeps it interesting not knowing who is going to win. But I mean, it is an absolute picker's nightmare this year. So everyone who plays Super Brew, which can be quite a lot of you who do follow this channel and watch these shows, it's becoming very difficult and very very frustrating to pick those. So let's have a quick look at the tables. So start off with the New Zealand Conference. Actually, get my little screen out of the way. There we go. The Crusaders top the New Zealand Conference with 34 points, and they're pretty much the only team at the moment that you can, with any confidence, pick what results they're going to have. They just had that one upset against the Waratahs. Obviously, got the draw in there as well, which was the cancelled game, but they've won all their other games. So they sit at the top on 34 points, a points difference of 121. The next best points difference is 43, which gives you an idea as to the gap or the chasm between them and everybody else. 7 points behind them, the Hurricanes, who've got a 7-point lead over the Blues. The Highlanders close right up on the Blues, just 2 points behind now, and the Chiefs leapfrogged with that loss to the Lions. Into Australia, Waratahs have closed things up on the Rebels down to 4 points, and they've got a game in hand as well. So all they've got to do is win that. If they win it with a bonus point, they'll go top. If they win it, they'll go on equal points with the Rebels. Brumbies only 1 point further back, and Rebels another point further back as well. The Sunwolves the only ones really off that have been distanced by any kind of margin. Over into the Africa Conference, and this one is absolutely crazy. 23 points, Bulls on top. Okay, they've got a game in hand, but it's only 4 points between them and the Stormers in last place. That's just a win. It's not even a bonus point win between top and bottom there. The Bulls and Jaguars, with those games in hand, have got a slight advantage over the others. But it's anybody's guess as to how that one is going to pan out. Coming down then to the all conferences section. Now the Hurricanes are obviously actually in fourth. I don't understand why Super Rugby can't put on a decent table on their own website. But the Rebels and the Bulls, by topping their conference, are in second and third place. But if you look at this, the Rebels from 24, it's only 7 points all the way down to the Chiefs in second to last place, which is an absolutely amazingly tight table. We've got 3 teams on 19 points, 2 on 20, another couple on 22, another couple on 18. I mean, teams are leaping up and down this table on a week-to-week basis. And say the only 2 teams you really have much confidence in are the Crusaders at the top. The Hurricanes have got themselves a little bit of a breathing space, but the only other team you're really confident about is that someone's going to come last. Everything else in between is pretty much up for grabs at this stage of the season. Sure, we're just over halfway through, but it is a wonderfully crazy season this season. A couple of things just to talk about. So next weekend, really looking forward to being in the Zone Sports Bar on Saturday night again. So if you're in Hamilton, come down and watch the game with me. That's the Hurricanes versus the Chiefs in the Zone Sports Bar in Hamilton. They've got 2 massive screens, projector screens on the walls, so you're not going to miss any of the action. I'll be there with Stephen Harris, who is a regular on this channel. He's also a radio sports commentator, and the two of us will give you our pre-game show. We'll come back and we'll fill in the adverts at half time, and then we'll give the post-match reaction as well as to what it means and how all the things stand. We might even have a quick word about the game that follows up about that, which I've just forgot what it is. The Waratahs versus the Sharks. Yes, well, we just talked about the Sharks being anyone's guess, and the Waratahs not being the most have been a mess as well. So, but we'll give you all the info on that game. So come down, join us, come over and say hi. Obviously, I'll be the one with a hat on, so come and see me. Live post-match reaction will also on the Friday night to the Crusaders versus the Lions. Someone's already told me that's the only game they know how to pick this weekend. All the rest they're really struggling with. My predictions, I will get those out probably tomorrow, and then so you can see how I think things will go. But yeah, as we've already said, any game that involves the South African team and the Jaguars for that matter is really a coin flip. You have no idea as to which way it's going to go. It could go either way. So really exciting and enjoyable season. But as I say, it is as Andre says, it is a lottery at the moment for some of these picks. If you want to, up there is to how you subscribe to the channel, so don't forget to do that. Hit the bell to make sure you always get notifications. And then down there is a link to become a supporter. It's via Patreon of Driving Maul. One of the things I'm doing on there, and you've got to say, bit of a crazy and what a silly time to start looking at doing some gambling on these things, but I've put $2 behind each of my picks at the TAB, so you can follow how much I'm winning or losing. On there. Also, I give you there's an exclusive opinion piece each week, and if you tell me what you want to do, I will I will talk about that for you. And then finally, there's also I also pull back the covers as to the business side behind Driving Maul every Friday. I give people a view as to the sort of social media strategies I use, the technology I use for these videos, the kind of earnings I get. So, which is not enough to eat, by the way. So if you want to see all of that, then you can become a supporter for as little as $1 a month, So go give that a look. There's if you're watching the live, it's down. There's a link down below in the notes, and then over there'll be 2 videos that the artificial intelligence here at YouTube says are going to be are going to interest you. So give them a go on that as well. And Charlotte says, I'm glad I don't bet. And on the whole, I don't either. This is an interesting one just to see. So I was asked by some people at the beginning of the season, how good are my picks? And I thought, you know what, let's see how good they are. Now, currently, obviously, with the way that it's a bit of a lottery, sure, I'm down on the official ones, but the TAB puts on so many special deals that actually I'm up overall. So don't worry, ups. Haven't lost any money yet, and yeah, it's not a. It's more of a proof of how good my picks are, rather than a thing to be for earning money. But anyway. Thank you so much for those of you in the live chat who have joined in. Thank you everyone who has watched. Your why we keep on doing this. Well, actually, we keep and what keeps us going. So please do keep watching. Tell all your friends, share, like, subscribe, all of that kind of wonderful stuff. And catch you tomorrow night for the #Rugby chat. I'll be around at Arsvin's house for that one. So come and sit on the sofa with us.